Hey everyone, Big Pauly back for a brand new video. You may remember I started this series of videos to highlight what I've watched in the last week. That's why I called it Big Pauly's Weekly Watch. I think I'm going to change the title because it really doesn't reflect what I watch on a week. Because as you know, you don't get one of these every week. It's more like every 3 weeks. So the new title for this series is Big Pauly, whatever I could be bothered to watch. Anyway, let's get on with it. Okay, so I have about 7 things. I've got a bit of a mixture of cinema releases and some streaming and some physical media as well. Yes. Okay, so let's start. I'm kind of a little bit afraid to do this one. Let's start with Orson Welles' Citizen Kane. Now this is looked at as an all-time classic. I didn't know what I was letting myself in for because it's old. What is it, 1930 something, about 37 or 38, something like that. It's black and white, and it's not my usual go-to type of film, but I thought it's a classic. Give it a go. You enjoyed The Wizard of Oz. What can happen? Yeah, this, I mean, I'm not going to go too much into the story, but this is about a kid that gets taken away from him, and he grows up and builds like a newspaper or newscast empire. And the last word that he muttered as this kid before he was taken away was Rosebud. Yeah, I'm not going to get into any of that or talk about that. I'm just going to talk about how I felt about the film and did it work for me? No. Okay, yes, this is considered a classic, but I was never brought up on this type of film. It's never been in my DNA. I have a few problems with certain parts of it, so far as I've never really been into the way that people talk back then. The over-exaggeration. Gee, boy, gee whiz. Hey, mister, is that a newspaper in your hand? All that type of stuff. The over-dramatic use of music. I know it's a product of its time, and that's how it was perceived on the screen back then, but it really doesn't do anything for me, and sometimes I kind of find it annoying and grating. Yeah. Now I'm not going to give this a bad review because I did watch it to the end, but I'm not going to say what a lot of old crap and give it like 1.5, because even though I didn't like it, many people absolutely adore it. So I have created a new rating that is basically not for me. So yes, so that's my rating, not for me. I gave it a go. It was mildly interesting, but it's certainly not my type of film. And what can I say? I gave it a go, but it's really not for me. But that is Citizen Kane on 4K. Okay, next up we have a film starring Ethan Hawke. This is The Black Phone. I actually enjoyed this film. This, I believe, is it set in the late 70s or the early 80s? I kind of get that vibe. It's kind of like mimicking kind of like Stranger Things with the kids in that time period, and Stand By Me and all the other films that have come out, and It with the young kids at that time period. So 70s, 80s, or something like that. And this is about a small town in America, and every now and again a kid gets kidnapped and taken away in a van, and then never heard from again. So there's a lot of missing children, and it revolves around this one kid here who gets taken, and we see what happens to him. We see where he goes. It is an abduction, a child abduction film. It is kind of... to call it a horror film, I don't think you can, because there's no jump scares. It's not scary. It's more psychological as a thriller. There is where this kid is taken to this cell, or this underground room, there is a telephone, a black phone on the wall, which rings every now and again. And the kid kind of communicates through this phone to people on the other end. I don't want to explain who these people are on the other end, because that will be giving it away, because that was kind of like a surprise. But I thought it was good film. Ethan Hawke was creepy. He could have been creepier, and he could have had a bit more screen time. Basically, the kid had most of the screen time, but it was also including, he's like his sister and the family and that. So it's a psychological horror thriller, I think you could say. But yeah, I did enjoy it. I thought it was good. It's true, never talk to strangers. So yeah, I did enjoy it. I gave that 6.5 out of 10. Sorry, mate, you got the wrong number. So that's the black phone. Oh dear me, Paul. Okie dokie, what we got next? Yeah, I decided to revisit a Marvel classic. Now, when I hold this up, people are going to say, I thought he said a Marvel classic. For me, it's a Marvel classic. I absolutely love this film. This is Captain Marvel with Brie Larson. I love this film. I can understand maybe it's not for some people, or it doesn't work for a lot of people, but I love everything about the setting of it, going to the 90s, Samuel L. Jackson, Jude Law, and of course, Goosey Gander, yes. But it also does hold a special place in my heart, because it was the very last film that I saw at the cinema with Mama Bowman, and because Bobby, our ginger cat, had died, we had little Goosey. There he is. We had little Goosey, so we loved watching our little ginger pussycat on the screen. So yeah, I really enjoy this film. I don't have any problems with it at all. I love the acting. I love the characters. What's his name? Ben Mendelsohn. He was fantastic. I loved his character. All round, I just love it. I just love this Marvel film. I can't say anything else other than that. And if you don't love it, that's fine with me. Who am I to say what you should like and what you shouldn't like? And I hope people feel the same as well. If you love something, it really doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It's what you love. There we go. So that's Captain Marvel. And I gave that 9 out of 10. Where's Little Goose? Okay. What we got next? Oh, okay. The next one is actually on Netflix. It's a streaming film, but I saw it at the cinema. It had a limited release. This is the Grey Man from the Russo brothers, who did Infinity War and Endgame. And this is about Ryan Gosling, who plays a character called Six, who, after facing however many years in prison, is approached by the FBI, is it? Or CIA, whatever, I can't remember. And is given the opportunity to commute his sentence if he worked for, I think, the FBI, as kind of like an assassin, like a Bond. Yeah. And he has to go after some sensitive data on a disc, or on a chip, and you get Chris Evans as well, you know, off of Captain America. He comes in as the villain. There's some good action scenes in it. It's good, it's fast paced, the dialogue's good, some witty dialogue in it as well. Chris Evans just stole the entire film. I really had fun with it. I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm glad that I got to see it on the big screen for the limited time that it was there. So yeah, that's The Grey Man, and that I gave that 9 out of 10. Don't take the piss out of me, because I really did like that film. What else have we got? Okay, next one I picked up from a charity shop last week. I watched a film called Piggy. Yes, this surprised me. This really did surprise me. I had no idea what this was. No idea at all. I think it's a Swedish release or a Scandinavian release. It says The New Clockwork Orange. I don't know about that. It's a tale of revenge, love and revenge. About this young guy that's afraid to go out. You know, he lives in his apartment. He doesn't like going out. Doesn't like mixing with people. But his brother persuades him to go to the pub with them. And unfortunately, they get in a bit of a brawl with Ed Skrein or Ed Skrein from Game of Thrones. And because they annoyed him, this gang goes after his brother, and it's all about how the younger brother deals with loss and the growings of revenge. He is approached also by someone claiming to be his dead brother's, one of his dead brother's best friends from school, and he helps him through the revenge, and they plan together going after this gang one by one. Now, I must say the music was really good in this. I loved the atmospherics and the slow motion, and the dialogue was really good. The dialogue from what he was thinking, the younger brother, what he was thinking. It is quite violent in places. There are some pretty brutal deaths in it. And the reason why it's called Piggy is because the character who knew his brother wears a little piggy mask, but his name is Piggy as well. So it's pretty brutal in places. It's a good tale of revenge, and it's really interesting. Yeah, I had no problem with it at all. It was a pretty good purchase for, I think, £2. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. I gave Piggy 7 out of 10 snorters. Okay, so next up we have Minions The Rise of Gru. Yeah, it's not called Minions 2, is it? It's Minions The Rise of Gru. Unfortunately, I never did get to do a review of this. I went to the cinema to see this with Claire a couple of days ago. We completely forgot to review it because it started raining. But we both enjoyed it. We went to see it in the Odeon in Maidstone. Quite a big screen it was. And literally the entire theatre was full up with like 5-year-olds. And they were running around, running up and down the aisles, running behind, slamming doors. The occasional bit of popcorn flew past your head. Luckily, we were in the back, one of the back rows, so we didn't have to have chewing gums stuck to our ears and all that kind of stuff. We enjoyed it. It was a tale about Gru in his younger days, so it was kind of a prequel about him growing up, and we got to see some more of the minions, the friendship with the minions, and all round it's a Minions film, isn't it? It's a Minions film. I don't think it was as good as Despicable Me 3. I kind of prefer these films with a grown-up Gru, you know, with Steve Carell, so as an adult rather than a prequel like this. It was good. It was funny. I will buy the physical release when it comes out. The visuals were good. The minions were hilarious. We also have Michelle Yeoh in it as well, voicing a martial arts tutor, which is a very funny scene with the minions and trying to break this piece of wood in half. Very comical scenes on an aeroplane as well, which you might have seen in the trailer. But yeah, we enjoyed Minions 2. It didn't blow us away, but it was an entertaining watch. And we gave Minions 2 6 out of 10 little yellow bananas. Okay, so to the last one then. Let's talk about Morbius. Right, okay, now I'd never seen Morbius before. Lulu and Claire, never seen it. So as soon as we came back from watching the Minions, we stuck in Morbius. First of all, I'm going to say Jared Leto was really good. I enjoyed his performance. Matt Smith was good as well. The special effects were spot on from what I could see. I liked all the swooshing about, you know, with like the sonar effects and things like that. With the, you know, with the underground scene as well, flying. This is basically about what is his name? Michael Morbius, who grows up with this kind of disease in a home or in a medical facility with Matt Smith. And then we see him later in life. You know, he's a doctor or a professor, and he's trying to cure himself. He's been curing other people around the world. And he's using like artificial blood. And he gets to the point where he injects himself with the right type of combination of artificial or blood. And of course turns into like part vampire. And grows very strong, has all these sonar capabilities and really vicious. It's kind of like the American Werewolf in London, really, because sometimes afterwards he doesn't remember what he's actually done. And then, of course, Matt Smith's very jealous, you know, because he's still crippling along. You know, he's still got this deadly disease and he wants part of it. And the two clash, you know, and of course, Matt Smith kind of like ends up being the villain, angry at Michael for not giving it to him and encouraging him to be strong, if you know what I mean. So yeah, we enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. I won't say it wasn't boring through the film, through the most part. We followed the story. We enjoyed the characters. The only downside I would say is the ending. We both, all three of us, didn't like the ending. It kind of like abruptly ended. It had just started with Jared Leto and Matt Smith battling it out together. They had like one punch, and then that was the end of the film. Where was the extended fight sequence? I was expecting that to go on for a good 10 or 15 minutes. And then we just had a handful of after credit scenes. So yeah, if the ending had been as strong as the film itself, I think we would have enjoyed the whole film and we would have given it a higher rating. But as it was, I enjoyed it. We did watch the Blu-ray, so I haven't checked out the 4K with the Dolby Atmos soundtrack yet. I should imagine the Atmos soundtrack will be pretty good, especially in the cinema room here, so I will give that one a go. But overall, it wasn't as bad as people were making out. No, so yeah, we enjoyed it. We enjoyed it, apart from the ending. So what did we give? We gave Morbius 6.5 out of 10. Where's me bats? So that's it. So that's all I've got. Like I say, it's no point me calling this thing Big Pauly's Weekly Watch, because I know I might be watching things weekly, but it's not coming out weekly. It's coming out every couple of weeks. So yeah, so it will get a name change to Big Pauly's Watching What He Can Be Bothered, something like that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like it by giving it some thumbs up. Blah, 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 blah. Don't forget to subscribe, comment and share, and I'll see you on the next episode of whatever be called Pauly can be bothered to watch. Bye bye.